Hi everyone, so today I want to show you how I made this simple die cut wreath card. Now I didn't use a wreath die because I find sometimes you can get wreath dies and they're lovely, but sometimes they're not the size you want them to be. But basically if you use any kind of foliage die, so I've got a foliage die here and it's quite small. This was actually a first edition one from a few years ago. But if you use any kind of foliage die, you can make up your own size wreath. So that was another die that I used, different die. So we're going to show that today. It's nice and simple. So what you will need is a 5 3/4 by 5 3/4 inch card blank. If you don't have that, you can just use a 5 3/4 by 11.5 inch piece of card. I'm using some Papermill Direct white card here. You fold it in half, so you score it in half at 5 3/4 to make your card blank. I'm going to do mine as being top folding, like that. Then what you want to do is work out what you want for your mat and what you want for your pattern. So I'm actually using Papermill Direct silver non-shed glitter card for my mat, and for my pattern I'm using their pale blue polka dot card out of the polka dot pack that they have, and again this is Papermill Direct. So your mat needs to be 5.5 by 5.5 inches. And your pattern piece needs to be 5 1/4 by 5 1/4. So on the previous two cards, the sample cards, on this one, which was my first one, I used the Arctic Christmas pad from Trimcraft on this one. So I used both for the pattern and for the paper, and just used plain white and then die cut out a silver Merry Christmas. And for this one, this was actually from the Arctic Wonder first edition pad. And then I just used some glitter, silver glitter card I had, white and a few little gems, and that's that. So we're going to go ahead now and stick down the mat onto the front of the card and then the pattern onto the front of that. Right, so once you've stuck down your mat and your pattern layer, you want to take a circular object. Now it could be anything. You'd use a die if you want to do that, or if you haven't got dies, you could just find a like a tape reel like this, or a cup, or anything you want. It needs to be about 3 inches to 3 1/4 inches wide, kind of roughly that kind of size. And you just want to lay it onto the front of your card centrally, and then holding it in place, you're just going to draw around the outside quite lightly with pencil. Okay, now you can't see, in fact I can't even see some of that. I can see part of my circle. You need to be able to draw around it so you can actually see it. Okay, now I don't know if you can see that. I've pressed down, but because it's quite a shiny card, you can't really see it. But I can see enough of the circle. You just want to be able to see where the circle is. And this is literally a guide, so you know where to stick your foliage down. So next what you want to do, now you can either use, it depends on what you're sticking onto and what you're sticking it, you know, what your foliage is made of. I'm actually going to use some like PVA type glue, this Anita's tacky glue, to stick down with. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start at the bottom, and I'm just going to put a little line of glue just going round, and I'm not going to do loads, but I'm just going to do a little bit of glue just like this, maybe, I don't know, maybe 1/4 of a circle, about like that. And then what I'm going to do is slowly I'm going to start adding the foliage in. So I'm going to take a piece of foliage. Now I've cut out 3 different colours for this one, because the other 2 I use white. And this foliage die isn't very big. I'd say it's about 1.5 inches, maybe 2 inches long. So what you want to do is just take it and you're going to put it on so that, in fact I'm probably going to have to go this way. So you want to take it and put it on so the bottom bit of the stem, which is this bit here, is going to stick down where that glue is. Okay, and I've cut this out of blue glitter card from Papermill Direct, silver, and also cerise pink glitter card, all from Papermill Direct. And I'm now just going to go through and I'm just going to keep going one by one, adding a bit of foliage every time I go, and I'm kind of overlapping them a bit, as you can see. And what I'm doing is where this stem meets the main bit, that's kind of roughly where I'm sticking it. Maybe a bit further down, actually. No, back there actually, because you want the line to carry on. And so each time you stick it, you're going to end up, you see how you're starting to get that wreath starting to appear. The more foliage pieces you add in, the fuller your wreath is going to be. For the first wreath that I did, I used this die. I used about, like I said, I used about 9 pieces. And then for the second example that I showed you with the this one here, I used about 11 or 12, I think, for that. 11, I think it was, but it was a shorter foliage die. So you just want to go round and just keep on adding your foliage pieces in. You might find it easy to turn the card as you go, and you just keep going round basically till you meet up the other side. Right, so as you can see, I've almost finished the edge of my wreath, but I've come to a bit here where I've kind of meeting up with the leaves that are going the other way. So what I'm going to do is take a bit of glue, and I'm very carefully going to lift up, use my tweezers, carefully going to lift up this piece of foliage here, which isn't stuck down. Like that, and I'm just going to wedge that under, just wedge that up for now. And then you want to put glue underneath there, kind of following the line of your circle still. And then you can then go ahead and stick the last 2 pieces in, or the last 1 piece, depending on where you're at. So I'm on to silver and then pink. So my silver's going to go there, like that. Oops, daisy. And then I'm just going to stick another bit in there. In fact, I'm going to stick it on the actual, it's quite difficult to get in there, so I'm going to stick the glue on the actual branch itself. And then just carefully insert it in the right place. So like that. And just press it down and make sure it's all stuck. And so there you have your wreath. Now I've actually used, I think, because I cut out four pieces of each colour, and I end up having to go back in and cut out another 2. So I actually cut out 6 pieces in the end of 3 colours. Okay, so then you get your wreath like that, and it's quite nice because these bits are not stuck down, and I quite like that because they kind of stand out. So although that's a flat card that you can send through the post, it kind of has the effect that it isn't flat. Okay, so there we have the finished card. So as you can see, it's nice and simple to do. It's got quite a lot of dimension, even though it's actually a flat card. I've done mine top folding, but if you want, you could always do it that way around. So yeah, so I hope you enjoyed today's card. I hope you'll have a go yourself. Please like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.